Hey folks, everything new under the sun. There's a lot of stuff going on right now in the Middle East. This particular one comes from the website this comes from is actually the Tea Party, teaparty.org. And Iran threatens Trump not to cut off oil exports, threatens mother of all wars. Is he threatening World War III? Effectively, he is. And this is a chess game going on here between the United States, which is the current world superpower, and Russia and Iran, and all his dealings. There's discussions between Putin, Netanyahu. There's escalations. There's been rockets fired in Israel. I'm going to cover part of that, but briefly on this one. I don't have a lot of time, but I'm just going to have a look at this one briefly. Iran's President Hassan Rouhani warned the U.S. not to threaten the nation's oil exports, called for improved relations with its neighbors, including its arch nemesis Saudi Arabia, and cautioned the U.S. that a conflict with Iran would be the mother of all wars. You know what? That's never going to happen because the United States is going to be taken out in some way, shape, or form. They don't exist in Bible prophecy, and Persia, Iran is a large, one of the biggest players in end-time Bible prophecy in terms of Ezekiel 38. Somehow the United States is taken out of power, and I think it's a worldwide economic collapse. It says, "Don't play with the lion's tail. This would only lead to regret," the Iranian leader says. Well, on to news from Debka.com. There's a bunch of stuff happening in Israel right now. This is just one piece of the puzzle. There was a 5.8 earthquake in Iran. There's earthquakes happening in Israel right now. On top of that, you have wars on a couple of different fronts in the Golan Heights and on the border with Gaza. And I believe it's Israel's Bennett is basically warning that Israel should not get involved in a two-front war, and they're basically getting into a two-front war. The Golan Heights, Gaza, the terrorists on the Lebanon side, etc. Putin's top officials sent to Jerusalem after Debka file disclosed his rift with Netanyahu, Israel's David's wand in first operation. So they're testing their missile systems, and they're actively using them because there's rockets being fired at them. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu announced the mission to the cabinet in words that were revealing. He said Israel will not accept the Syrian army's entry to the buffer zone set up by the 1974 Syrian-Israeli Separation of Forces Accord, thereby indicating that he did not trust in Syrian compliance with the accord. It goes on. He says Syrian. Where are we here? Thereby indicating that he did not trust the Syrian compliance with the accord, despite the guarantee by Vladimir Putin on the phone conversation. So Israel doesn't trust Putin, although they're playing nice with Putin in person. But Israel's actions is that they actually don't trust Putin, and I don't think they should trust Putin. Putin will come against them as hooks in the jaws occur in Ezekiel 38. So Netanyahu's right. Netanyahu also knows his Bible. I just kind of wonder if he's read Ezekiel 38. He knows what's coming down the pipe, and so he knows not to trust Vladimir Putin. Well, to emphasize that Israel now meant business related to Syria and Syrian armed forces in the buffer zone, the IDF was instructed Monday morning to use David's Wand anti-missile weapon for its first combat operation against Syrian missiles fired in a battle with rebels. So now Syria's hitting rebels with missiles, and Israel's actually intercepting those missiles, which is pretty funny, pretty interesting escalation of events, preventing the missiles from hitting the rebels, basically, and in a way basically supporting the rebels, but that wasn't Israel's intent. Israel's intent is simply to keep the Syrian armed forces out of the zone there. Warning alerts were triggered the length and breadth of northern Israel, so they have continuous warnings. A previous article said that they need to stay by their bomb shelters in Israel. It says from the Golan and Bashan, north of the Sea of Galilee area, up to Safed Tiberias, David's Wand broadcast a signal to all those concerned that Israel had every intention of using its most advanced weaponry in southern Syria. 1 second. A whole bunch of pop-ups from Debka file that I want to get rid of. There we go. All right. It goes on here. Three important points emerged from Monday's events. The claim that Syrian army is fighting in battles for conquering southern Syria is more fiction than fact. Aside from tattered elements of that army, the battles are being fought by Hezbollah and pro-Iranian Shiite militias under Iranian command. So the Syrian army, quote-unquote, is a misnomer when referring to intrusions in the buffer zone. Basically, they're moving their armed forces closer to Israel. It's probably all orchestrated, all on purpose, so that they can get their military equipment very close to the border, so Israel has less of a chance to do something before invasion. And we know that's Iran's stated goal, to destroy Israel, to push them into the sea. Number two, some of these forces enjoy Russian Air Force support. So now the IDF, Israel, potentially is going to get involved with Russian air support, because they're now firing their missiles, their missile defense systems, and their offensive missiles are now heading into the buffer zone, into Syria, and could come in contact with Russian forces. Why is that significant? Well, Russia has said, if one of our soldiers gets killed, we are going to come into the battle. So if the Israel happens to strike Russian military, tank, aircraft, or personnel, Putin has said, we will join the battle and defend our country. We will consider that basically a declaration of war with our country. And so they're very close. This is very tense. That's why there's discussions, every week now between Netanyahu and Putin about this, and they do not agree. So something's going to happen here. Number three, if Israeli fighter jets are confirmed to have fired missiles from Lebanon Sunday night at a missile depot at Masyaf near Hama, killing Iranian and Hezbollah, this raises a question. Why would Israel take military action against Iran and Hezbollah far from its borders, while thus holding back from attacking those same forces close to its Golan? Indeed, Netanyahu threatened as much in his last conversation with Putin. In the harshest terms, he said, any hill captured by Iran and Hezbollah near the Israeli border will become a crater. The Russian president seems to have taken this threat seriously enough to send his top people to Jerusalem to hold Israel back. So Putin's now sending delegations to Israel. This is escalating fast. I can't express how fragile the situation is, how close we could be to World War III, to Ezekiel 38, effectively to an economic collapse, because I think that happens before this really breaks out, because Western nations aren't really noted in end-time Bible prophecy. So this is a huge escalation of events, and it's all surrounding the Golan Heights, the Golan border, the buffer zone there between Syria. This looks to be the trigger point. This looks to be what ends up being the hooks in the jaw of Gog-Magog, pulling Russia into the battle. Putin's doing everything he can right now to avoid it. But like Ezekiel 38 says, they're not going willingly. They're going to have hooks in the jaw, multiple hooks. God is going to turn them around, turn Gog-Magog around, and turn Gog around, pull Russia into the battle when they don't want to. And they don't want to right now. That's why they're sending a high-level delegation to Israel. Guys, this is significant. This is close. Stuff is happening right now in Israel. Wow. You need to be in prayer. You need to understand your word. Ultimately, you need to know Jesus Christ as your Lord and Savior. He's coming back soon. Watch my timeline over the return of the Lord, the video I did release on Sunday. It gives you my current understanding. I'm not saying it's absolute carved in stone. That's my current understanding of the timeline that we're on, the path that we're on. I think we're less than 3 years from the 7-year tribulation. Probably even less than that. The way things are going in this world, you don't have a lot of time left. Guys, economic collapse is coming soon. The war is raging and increasing. This could spill over any day now. I'll leave there, guys. Quick video. I'll probably be back on track. Maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow morning. I'll be back on track with the regular stuff. But thanks for watching. We'll see you guys in the next video.